The European Union has accused Google of violating antitrust laws in their search division and stifling rival mobile systems to benefit Android. And now Google might be facing another EU case, this one targeting their suite of ad products. Joining us to talk about this story and a few other bits of Google news is Mark Bergen, Associate Editor at Recode. Welcome, Mark.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So a report in the Financial Times says that two advertising tech companies are lobbying European Union officials to launch an antitrust investigation into Google's suite of ad products. What are these companies and what are their claims?
Sure. So the two that we know about are two programmatic ad technology companies, which is a fancy way of saying automated ad buying and selling called OpenX and AppNexus. And ad tech companies are famous for having terrible names. But basically, the claim is that Google, which sells a lot of display advertising through something called DoubleClick, basically requires their clients to use to buy other parts of Google's ad technology and maybe dissuades them from buying competitors.
So
right? And this is good.
This is basically a bundling argument, kind of same as the Android
it's similar
case.
To Android, yeah. Although like it's much more, it's not as much consumer facing, right? I mean, Android is pretty clear. Like, you know, as a consumer, I know if I want Android, I'm using Google services. I don't necessarily know who's serving me this really targeted ad when I look at a website.
So similar to what Microsoft was, dealing with in the 90s, bundling Internet Explorer with Windows. But then for this, it's a little bit different. It's harder for like the average person to feel really sorry for these giant, programmatic ad companies, right?
Yeah, and I mean giant by certain measure, right? I mean, Google hasn't really revealed, and they don't break down their revenue. There's some estimates that DoubleClick and its other ad products made about $8 billion last year. I think OpenX, I should have researched this, but OpenX is around $100 million in revenue. They claim they're both private companies, and AppNexus is $250 million. So much, much smaller.
So do you think the EU has a good case that Google is locking clients into its products?
I don't think so, nor do I really think that the EU will be compelled to move. But the EU, unlike the FTC, is much more willing to listen to the argument that Google is hurting competing businesses. I think the FTC is much more interested in consumer harm, where in Europe they're a little more open to the idea that this is monopolistic.